Yo, what is up guys, it Ghost here, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at all the information we know about Season 4. I'm sure you guys have already watched the trailer. It was probably one of, if not the best, that I've seen the Battlefield team put out, and there was a lot of cool stuff revealed here. Not only are we getting two new jet variants, the F-18 Super Hornet and the F-14 Tomcat, which really came as a surprise, but it looks like they might even be two-seater jets, which is something that I personally have been hoping for in Battlefield again for the longest time. There's also, of course, attack boats coming. There seems to be a bit of a throwback to Hainan Resorts Hotel here. So we're going to jump into all of this. As always, if you guys enjoy the content on the channel, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything Battlefield 6. So without further ado, let's just jump into it here. So first of all, we're actually getting aircraft carrier that the jets can take off of. I'm assuming this is NATO, and here we can see a shot of a Super Hornet and also an F-14 Tomcat here closer to the camera. Now, I can't really tell which jet is going to be for which team because both of these are US jets, so you would assume that they would kind of both be used by NATO here, but I guess one of them is maybe going to be for PAX, or maybe both of them will be available to both teams. We'll have to see how that pans out. I also don't know if they're both going to be available on Suru Reef, or maybe one of them is only going to be on Wake Island. I suppose we'll have to wait and see. However, what is really interesting here is you can clearly tell on these jets that there are two seats in both of them, and both of these jets in real life can be manned with a weapons systems officer or a WISO, and they can also be manned solo as well by just the pilot. So really, DICE could effectively go either way with this. You know, those seats could just be for show, but this is the clip that sort of at least sold it to me here. Here we've got a TADS, or the targeting pod, and I'm almost certain that this is the Tomcat that we're looking at here because he's got AIM 54s, which are air-to-air lock-on missiles, and you can see he's targeting an enemy jet here, and it's quite difficult to see because as the camera sort of pans around to the front of the jet as the enemy jet flies by, it almost looks like you can see what appears to be the helmet of the pilot sat in front of the WISO. So I'm guessing this is going to be the WISO's perspective, and if this is correct, it looks like you're going to be in charge of targeting weapon systems like AA missiles, and I'm going to hope stuff like air-to-ground missiles and maybe even bombs as well. There's already targeting pods and stuff that exist in Battlefield 6, like if you hit right-click or you zoom in the jet, you will go to one of those targeting pods, but it's quite difficult to use whilst you're flying the jet at the same time. So I think they've already got those systems in the game. It would make sense just to use them for a second pilot. I would love to see that. This is something that has been requested all the way back since Battlefield 2. That was the last time we had two-seater jets. It was a ton of fun in that game, and honestly, if this is not correct, and it's not confirmed by any means, I'm going to be really disappointed, but at least we are getting the Tomcat, and we are getting the Super Hornet, so I suppose that can, in some part, make up for the fact that we don't have any jet loadouts available. I suppose DICE and the Battlefield Studios are widening the pool of selection here somewhat by adding two new jets, so either way, that's definitely a good thing. You probably also heard the little jingle at the end of the trailer. That was a nod to Top Gun, which, you know, obviously features the Super Hornet. And if you remember back when Top Gun Maverick came out, I think they did a collaboration with Microsoft Flight Simulator. So it's definitely not past them to do that. I expect that is probably what's going to happen with Battlefield 6 here. After all, we've also seen EA team up with Red Bull for a couple of events. So I think that's definitely within the realm of possibility. I'm all for that. I love Top Gun, as you can probably imagine, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do, so that sounds cool. Now, what also looks cool is, of course, the attack boats. The main theme of this season is going to be naval warfare, and it really is the season of new vehicles, it seems. So what are the attack boats actually getting? Well, it looks like the gunner, or the driver, is going to get some sort of an auto cannon and also AA missiles, so that's pretty similar to what we saw back in the Battlefield 4 days. He's also got thermal smoke there as a countermeasure, so there's no telling if we're going to get something like repairs, maybe even some sort of APS system, also like we saw in Battlefield 4. And you know what, DICE have kind of surprised me here because I fully expected us to see the addition of the TV missile coming for the attack boats, and then they probably put it on the attack helicopters as well. But this time around, they've actually gone for a couple of new weapons. They've added mortar rounds for some gunner, presumably, like the only gunner. Maybe there's going to be two gunners. And then they've also added torpedoes. And we do see a shot of one of these torpedoes tracking an enemy rib boat. They seem to just auto-track, so I'm not exactly sure if you need to do some sort of lock-on or you just drop one in the water and they will auto-track onto a target. But I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, there's ever been torpedoes in a Battlefield game before, so really looking forward to trying those out and seeing just how they work. Oh, and they also drop mines, so yeah, there's going to be a lot to look out for there with the attack boats. That being said, with 2 new jets in the sky, I also think the boats down on the water are going to have quite the time staying alive, because at least I am definitely going to be up there keeping those skies clear, and hopefully the seas as well. Now, there were some leaks that came out of the 1BF account some time ago, and those leaks appear to be true, and this is basically the loadout that we're going to be getting here for the attack boat, or the CB90 as it's called. So he says it's an 800 HP vessel that provides spawn point for the team if it's near coast and stationary. The driver has access to a cannon, missiles, and guided torpedoes. The gunner operates quick-firing mortar with HE rounds, and you can customize most of the weapon slots. For loadouts here, on the main seat, you've got a rotary MG or an autocannon, which is the autocannon seems to be what we're seeing there in the trailer. Then we've got the RBS-70, which is like the Igla, so AA missiles, the 7.62 MG, lock-on missiles, Stinger missiles here. Then we've got the IR smoke, so that's the thermal smoke, 2 torpedoes, 650 damage each, and 4 naval mines, 525 damage. So it seems you can only equip either the mines or the torpedoes. As for the gunner, he is going to get these HE rounds, which sort of seem like you can fire them either as mortars, or you can just straight fire them directly at a target. And then you can get IR smoke shells, HE guided, airburst shells, or illumination shells, which I have no idea what they are, but I'm very excited to find out. Now, as I'm sure you guys have already heard, the 2 maps we're getting, of course, Suru Reef is going to be the first one, which is releasing on Tuesday, the 21st of July, and then we're going to be getting a remake of Wake Island for the next phase of Season 4. So I won't really go too far in depth in that, because I know you guys have seen the maps and they all look pretty cool in that. One of the interesting takeaways, though, is this hotel that is on Suru Reef, and I've long thought this looks exactly like the hotel on Hainan Resort, and seeing some of the footage of the infantry fighting inside of it pretty much all but confirms that it's maybe not a one-to-one copy, but it is certainly heavily inspired, let's say, by the Hainan Resort Hotel. It just looks too similar here with the pool out front, the 2 similar sides on it there. I don't know if you can break these down. Maybe some sort of a Levolution event would be really, really cool to see there in Battlefield 6, but honestly, that was one of the coolest areas to fight over in Hainan Resort in Battlefield 4, so you know, not a bad idea to add it here in Suru Reef as well. Now, outside of the Season 4 news, we do have a couple of other news items to touch on here. So if you guys watched my video a couple of days ago, I was talking about the broken canister shell on the MBTs, on the main battle tanks. They were firing basically like artillery rounds from every single pellet of the canister shell, which was clearly broken. And this is what DICE have done about it. So they say anti-personnel shells on the main battle tank have been disabled. Following recent community reports, we identified an issue where the anti-personnel shells, also known as canister rounds, on the main battle tank were not performing as intended. Yeah, you got that right. We have temporarily disabled this while we investigate the cause and work on a fix. Thank you for flagging this to us and for your patience while we look into that. So that doesn't surprise me at all. That's exactly what I said in the video that I thought they would do. It's the simplest solution. Just take it out of the game until they can fix it up. And I don't think anybody's really going to miss them, especially. It really did get insane there for a day after I made that video, and I know that worked in conjunction with other people's videos, and word just got around that you could do this. Everybody was doing it. It was a bit crazy. So DICE had to come in and do something there. Good to see that they did. Now, if you guys want to snag yourself some extra cosmetics, there is a Discord event going on right now called Hunt the Carrier, a community event. And all you have to do is join the Discord server, head to the Hunt the Carrier channel, and basically there you have to play a guessing game. There's one of these every day. I think you've only got until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon UTC to participate in this. So I recommend whenever you wake up for work or school or whatever, whenever you get time, check the Discord. And every time the community guesses correctly, they unlock a little sneak peek of Season 4 and also some cosmetics to go along with it. So if that's your kind of thing, then feel free to check that out. And this is the sneak peek that we've unlocked just today. This is, of course, the map overlay for Suru Reef. So pretty large map. I think they've said this one is even bigger than Goldwood Railway, so presumably then that means it's the biggest map in the game. And we have a whopping 9 flags here to fight over on Conquest, so that's going to be really, really cool. You can see the sea flag there is out in the middle of the ocean, so that is going to be highly contested by attack boats and that kind of thing. The E there, very central, going to be one of the main pillars of gameplay, especially for infantry, with the Hainan Resort style hotel being there. And then of course there's a couple of bridges connecting it to the mainland. And then overall we've got 3 main islands to fight over, 2 home flags on each of the left and right islands, and then 2 there in the middle. You'll also notice now that it looks like both teams are going to be launching all of their aircraft and indeed their boats and whatnot from aircraft carriers. There is actually one down there in the bottom left. It's behind the Suru Reef text, if you can spot it. So that's going to go for both NATO and for PAX. And there's even a destroyed airstrip over there on the H flag on the top island. So good job that they brought their carriers, I guess. Now, as Season 3 comes to a close, we also got some pretty interesting statistics of the most played maps and the most used weapons in Season 3, actually from the German Battlefield account. And this is the map breakdown here. So coming in at number 5, we have Hagentel Base, even though that was a Season 2 map. At number 4, we've got Cairo Bazaar, no surprises there. At number 3, we actually have Eastwood, which is a Season 1 map. This one is a bit divisive. A lot of people don't like it, a lot of people do like it. I'm one of the ones who does like it, so I understand why it's there, but it could just also be because DICE feature it so often in their playlists. Number 2, we've got Contaminated, which is, of course, a great map from Season 2. And then at number 1, we have Golmud Railway, or the Railway to Golmud, as DICE are calling it. So take that for what it's worth. I guess it's kind of skewed in some way. Some people are surprised not to be seeing something like Siege of Cairo, which is arguably one of the best maps in the game, but I guess a lot of the other maps are newer, and again, it depends on which maps DICE really, decide to feature in their playlists when they go from week to week. Now, what is more telling here are the top 10 weapons that were used in Season 3. Obviously, halfway through, we saw a big change to the meta of the gunplay, and so probably the most used weapons changed some way through. But coming in at number 10 here, we got the SGX, then we got the CZ3A1 at number 9, the KTS 100 at number 8, and then at number 7 we have the DRS IAR, really solid choice there. At number 6 we have the L115, at number 5 the RPK 74M, number 4 is the M4A1, number 3 is the M433, not a surprise there, really solid weapon. At number 2 is the Cord, and then in the number 1 spot, of course, we have the M16A4, which was one of the new weapons in Season 3. So that just goes to show you, since one of the new weapons in Season 3 was the number 1 most used weapon, the other weapon that came out, the PP19, didn't even make the top 10 cut. So that just goes to show you what a terrible weapon it is. So there we go, guys. That is all of the news for today. Keep your ear to the ground, though. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There's probably going to be a lot more coming about Season 4 this week, as we do have the season coming and releasing next Tuesday on July the 21st. Thank you, as always, for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.